So I hope you enjoyed this week. I wanted to take a few moments to kind of answer the question we introduced at the beginning of week 5. How is technology, particularly computing power, has gotten so cheap and so good in the last few years, in so very little time. And we're back here at the Research Park at the University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign, where we introduced the week this week, because I think it's a great example of situations in which the more companies you have operating in the market, the better they can perhaps compete and collaborate not only among themselves but among each other, and ultimately what they're doing is cutting costs. So this is a situation in which the more competition you have, the lower the cost of production. During the week we talk about that idea of the decreasing cost industry. That is an industry when the demand for the product is more, encourages more firms to enter, and as more firms enters, they can actually take advantage of economies of scale in order to reduce the cost of production. And when the cost of production are lower, you get the same good, probably a better good, for a lower price. And the research park like this one is a perfect example of economies of scale. Now, that's actually exactly what happened with the computing industry. As people have demanded more computers, more storage capacity, more companies entered that industry, and that created opportunities for economies of scale, so the technology to produce computing power had gotten better, and that reduced the cost of production. And the reduction in the cost was passed to consumers eventually, because firms really have to compete in order to get those consumers. So that the result of that is that the increase in demand for the product reduced the price of the good ultimately. So that we can buy a 32 gigabyte device for a fraction of the price that we had to buy it some years ago. So this is a situation in which the push for survival of the fittest, the push for a company like the companies you have here to always try to cut costs in order to stay surviving in the market benefits ultimately society, allow everyone to enjoy better products at a lower price. Now, next week, we're going to talk a little bit more about pricing, but not in the conditions of perfect competition, but assuming that firms have a little bit of pricing power, which is a lot more realistic to the type of businesses that you're more close to. And then the last week, we talk all about market failures, and that is that situations in which you have the opposite, in which you have the market not creating the best for society, but actually making things worse, and what can the government do to make those things better.
Produced by OCE Atlas Digital Media at the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign.